Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in as we kick off a brand new week talking Bigfoot with Mike Familant all the way from New Jersey. Yes, apparently they have more than just the Devils there. Hockey team, get it? New Jersey Devils. Anybody? Dirty Filth is here with another crazy cartoon. And the best part about tonight, we have each and every one of you. And who do we have? Well, let's take a look. We have Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Kitty Caddywhack with the silver. Tim Mothman and his goatee in the bronze medal tonight. Guess who's fourth? Race Fan. Race Fan is fourth. Oh, my goodness. All right, David Nordberg, Steve H., how you doing? Welcome to SOR Chat. As we start off roll call here, there's Barb Madison and Frankie B. Nice to see you both. T-Bone, my man, how are you? Good to have you here. Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show because, you know, you can't talk Bigfoot without going into a Bigfoot show nice and smooth. So, Mel, thank you for the lube. We greatly appreciate getting slicked up for you. Greg in Scotland, how are you? Good morning to you as we continue on with our roll call. All right. Cosmic Joe is here. Guess what? He turned 62 years old today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cosmic Joe. Happy birthday to you. And you know what? Because of that, our present to Joe, he's going to be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio, you must bring a birthday present to get an autograph. Babylon Rose, how are you? Paramarv, nice to see you. Little Timmy James in the chat room. In the studio, yet in the chat room. How does that happen? JSCO, nice to see you. Flat 6, nice to have you back. Hi there, Road Flare. And number 39 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Tyler 420, good to see you. Skip to Malou is here, waking up early, and Skip to Malou will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Hi, Pat Fisher and Sensational Shelley. How are you both? Kurt W75, how you doing? Deborah Rooney is here early. Yep, early. Just another guy named Harry, good to see you. So we continue on with our roll call tonight. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. And let's continue on with J Truth Seeker. Al Garay over on Twitch, bench press 405 pounds 24 times in 2.5 minutes. You know how fast he was going to make that happen? Guy's jacked. Zen 1, how's Nebraska today? Hope you're doing well. Jerence Carter, Millennium, my man. Good to have you both here. And let's scroll on down. Alien Critter and Walter Kochabinski. How you guys doing? Zen 2 is here. You'd almost think they're a power couple of Zenness. Zen 1, Zen 2. There they are. I'm Hardcore on X. How you doing? Nice to see you, my friend. Mayhem, thank you for coming on in. Hi there, Mark Eddy. Hope you're having a great night, my man. And who is next here? Louisville Charlie. You would swear he's from Louisville, Kentucky. They make baseball bats there. That's all I know. Little Lonnie Strickler is in the chat room. There he is. All right. Mike Rivers. Lon, by the way, doing great work. Yeoman's work, as some would say, on phantomsandmonsters.com about Tim's and my report. So make sure you check it on out. It's phenomenal. Read it tonight. Undead Jed, good to see you. Hello, neighbor Danielle. Nice to have you here. Neighbor Danielle is here. Literally, she lives like down the road. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Good to have you here as we continue on. Getting ready for the Monday show with Mike Familant. We're going to talk some Bigfoot and the big red eye tonight. I'm excited about this. We are in roll call on our YouTube side saying hello to Chris716, Fast Hemi, and Gary Rusin. Nice to have you all here. Bobbert is here. Good to see you. And who is next on our list? Scrolling on down. Monica, thank you for joining us. We are caught up. Remember, the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. High candy. And, of course, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. And I need that favor that I ask each and every night. Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show tonight. We're heading to the forests of New Jersey, where Mike Familant is going to tell us about all his Bigfoot experiences, encounters, including one that he's dubbed the Big Red Eye. You know, when you name something that weird, kind of freaks me out a little bit. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us with another spooky story. We're going to follow that up with little Timmy James in studio with the UFO report. And maybe a little Flight 21. Because we're those guys. We totally are. Mike Familant of Northwestern New Jersey is here to share his experiences from tracking down North America's most iconic cryptid, Bigfoot. Mike has been searching for Sasquatch for over 13 years and is currently touring the country with his library tour and tracking down Bigfoot at the same time. In 2016, after becoming frustrated with the lack of true research expedition shows on TV, he created his own called In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. This show is currently filming its 8th season, and we're going to find all about that because, you know what, I agree. I agree with what he's saying. There's too much, not enough evidence, not enough anything, rather than, did you see that? Did you hear that? What was that? Who's doing that? What's going on? And all the meantime, it's the cameraman coughing behind the scenes. Mike Familant, it's good to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good evening. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, I actually had a shower this morning and you know, I used deodorant, so we were off to a good day after a good Father's Day weekend. How about you?
Good. You're 50% more than me, so that's great.
Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. Mike, let's go back in Adventureland with you, my friend, because, for a lot of people, they may not be familiar with your work. And how did this whole search for Sasquatch begin for you?
Yeah, it all began in on an expedition in Florida back in 2011, and it was a Bigfoot trip. We were there specifically looking for Bigfoot, and it was me and my buddy, and we didn't think we were gonna find anything. We went because it was gonna be a weekend camping with a bunch of crazy people. You know what I mean? So we didn't expect there to be anything, and nothing happened the entirety of the trip until the last night, where we heard tree knocks. We heard tree knock from one side of camp, and then the opposite side of camp right away. And then we heard then we got four of these fist-sized rocks thrown at us. And my buddy came up to me and he's like, "Mike, I'm gonna throw a rock back at it." And I said, "Jimmy, I don't think that's a stellar idea, my friend." So he takes a rock and he chucks it back in that direction, and a 15-pound laptop-sized boulder came just crashing out of the woods.
Oh, my.
So that was our first experience with Bigfoot. So that's what got me into it, and we left that expedition kind of like knowing that something's capable of throwing substantially sized rocks at us. So it was a
Okay.
complete change.
Take me through the whole idea here, Mike, that all of a sudden you decided to go on a Bigfoot quest. What happened there? How did that even come up in conversation?
Well, I was watching the show on TV where at the end of it they were like, "Hey, if you want to come out on a Bigfoot expedition, you can with us." And I was like, at the time, I was like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing that God has ever given us, that we could go on a Bigfoot expedition and look for Bigfoot. This is gonna be awesome. Do you know the amount of crazy people that are gonna be there?" That was my thought process of it. So it wasn't anything about looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, it was all about kind of making fun of it.
Not making fun of it, but just kind of seeing like, well, let's look and see let's see what this thing's all about, type of thing.
Were you a believer?
No, I would say skeptic at best. I didn't really didn't think too much about it, to be honest with you.
So when you decided to make that choice and to kind of get in there and try this out, how real was it then when all of a sudden these rocks came flying at you?
Yeah, it changed my life forever. Those 15 minutes of those rocks being thrown at us, on paper I used to be a firefighter and an EMT. And at this point in my life, when these rocks happened to get thrown at us, I was an EMT and a firefighter, and on paper I should still be that. I'm working in Tampa on the city, in the city somewhere, but I'm not. Now I tour the country full time speaking about Bigfoot, which is just phenomenal.
You're living the dream that many of us want to live.
Yeah, I don't know quite how I fell into it. I don't know how long it's going to last. Fun fact, I don't make a ton of money doing this, but I am able to support myself, which is pretty cool.
So when you are touring around the United States talking about Bigfoot, tell us about this. What is this all about?
Yeah, so what I do is I speak at libraries and conferences and festivals during the day. And then at night, I'm able to, and that funds my way to camp at state parks and national forests and stuff like that, and film my YouTube show, In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, at night.
So how did this all begin, man? Like you just decided, you know what, I'm going to do this full time?
Yeah, I did one library, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do EMS work anymore. What can I do? And I don't want to have a 9 to 5 job with a boss. So what can I do that's not that? And I started doing like one library presentation here and there, and I'm like, then one of my friends pointed out, he's like, yeah, you could probably get away with doing this full time. And I'm like, bet. And here I am 3 years later.
Good for you. What's the response of the public like around you when you all of a sudden go to, say, some town and talk about this?
Yeah, 90% of the time, it's overwhelmingly a great response. Everybody is so happy to be around and talk about Bigfoot. It's just a wonderful time. You get the occasional skeptic in the audience that gives you a hard time, but overall, it's just a wonderful group of people that are, everywhere from seniors to young kids that come out and for these programs.
Do you find people are starting to become more accepting?
Absolutely, yes. Especially in the last couple years since I've been really getting involved with doing this full time. It's Bigfoot is now more mainstream, main culture a thing. It's not people aren't hiding the fact that Bigfoot could be out there anymore. And I mean, just look at all the commercials on TV that have Bigfoot in them. That's never been a thing before.
Well, you look at Ford. Ford has developed a Bronco with a Sasquatch package.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's awesome.
I'm still surprised they haven't done any good ads on that yet. I've been waiting. They still haven't done any good ads. I feel like calling up their marketing team and say, "Do you know what you're missing out on?"
You're missing a gold mine.
Right? Right? I mean, it's just weird. But the popularity of these subjects, whether it's UFOs or whether it's Bigfoot or anything like that, has really skyrocketed over the last number of years as people, really take note of what's going on around them rather than staring down at their phones all the time. What's the biggest notice you've made in your interactions with people of why they're believing about Bigfoot now?
Um, I think it's fun for people to believe. It's now not people aren't shaming people for having sightings and for again getting laughed at for witnessing a Bigfoot sighting and people hiding it for years and years and years. Now it's such a mainstream thing that people are actually coming out with their sightings, and that's what I think the whole community needs, which is awesome.
Do you think the public is ready to admit it, or do you think it's still kind of like a flavor of the month or maybe flavor of the year, where they are looking at everything and saying, well, this just looks like a fun hobby, going out, have a few beers and see if we could track down some Sasquatch?
Yeah, as of a few years ago, 29% of the United States population believe in Bigfoot. So that's not a whole lot. So a majority of the people, you take 1 in 4 believe in Bigfoot, say. That means 3 in 4 probably don't want anything to do with Bigfoot or don't have any real true beliefs on the topic, which is unfortunate. It's not that mainstream yet. It needs to be.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But do we want it to get bigger? Do we want it to get better? Do we want it to turn into what the UFO world has turned into, which is just an annoying mess right now?
Well, that's kind of where the Bigfoot community seems to be already, unfortunately. Um, it's do I want Bigfoot to be found specifically? No. Do I want to be the one to go out and find Bigfoot? I don't think so. Um, but does Bigfoot inherently get more people out and involved with nature and into the woods? Absolutely. So if that's what that means, then yeah, I think it would be good to get more people out and into the woods.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, because you've been doing this long enough where I can ask you this. How can you tell a good researcher from a poor researcher?
Well, the first thing you look for is if someone says that they're an expert at something. That's a red flag right there. If they're an expert at Bigfoot, then they're probably not, because there's no experts at Bigfoot or people that know it all. I do another red flag for me is the armchair researchers, people that never have gotten out into the woods and think that they can be the judge end all of what is good evidence and what's not evidence. Those are just a couple of my pet peeves.
My biggest one, my audience will laugh at me. My biggest one that I could tell a quality researcher from a non-quality researcher is if they use the word squatch or squatching.
Okay.
That's how I know that the minute I hear it, I know that I could just turn it off because I'm not going to learn anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you start going into these silly acronyms, whether it's UAP, whether it's NHI, whether it's Squatch, or anything to try and make it a popular term to show that you're hip to the culture, I think that takes away from the actual work that real researchers are doing. So that's my pet peeve.
So you're just good with the whole Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what changed my mind was in 2015. I had the pleasure to meet Dr. John Bindernagel before he passed away a couple years later. And he was asking me about my encounter because my first Sasquatch encounter, I was within 100 feet of two of these. And he was, I guess, very interested because not many people have an encounter with multiple at the same time. And so we were talking about it, and about half an hour later, he wouldn't let me go. It was awesome. I'm like, because when you see a legend like John Bindernagel in front of you think, man, maybe if I get 5 minutes with him, I'll be happy. Well, like half an hour later, I'm like, don't you have to go somewhere? No, I got all the time in the world for you. Like, it was great. He wanted to leave the conference and go to this area. Yeah, he's like, let's just go right now. I'm like, well, it's on private property, and I can't because I don't like those people anymore, right? But anyways, I asked him point blank, I said, what do you think of the word squatch? This is when the television show was starting to heat up, and everything was squatch this, squatch that, trying to make it mainstream, and unfortunately it did. And he kind of took a deep breath, he sighed, and he goes, 70 years of research down the drain because of one word or one stupid word.
Yeah.
And after that, I was just like, that's a banned word here on SOR now. Banned word. So that's what convinced me. It wasn't me because I'm not a scientist, but somebody like Dr. John Bindernagel. God bless him.
Yeah. And God bless him is right.
So you do this full time. How often are you out in the forest looking?
So last year I spent 139 nights tent camping looking for Bigfoot. This year we're on track to do 150.
And are they all at different locations?
I'll spend, it depends. It really depends on my tour schedule. I'll spend upwards of anywhere of 2 to 12 nights at a location doing investigation work, depending on, how many libraries, presentations, and whatever I have at that time.
So you just kind of how do you pick your locations of where you're going? I mean, do you sit there and all of a sudden say, you know what, I feel like going to Montana, or I feel like going to North Dakota, or up to the upstate New York where they have a lot of sightings? Is that just kind of how you plan it out, or are you scheduled out in advance?
Yeah, that's kind of how I do it. About a year in advance, I'm like, hey, I want to go. I actually just got back from the Adirondacks in upstate New York. And about a year ago, I was like, I think I want to go up to the Adirondacks in June. So I scheduled I emailed the libraries, and a couple of them wanted me. So I was like, ooh, let's make a tour out of this. So I went up, spent a couple days hiking, a couple library presentations, and it was awesome.
And what do you charge for something like that?
Oh, I'm not going to get into that.
Well, obviously you have a fee.
Yeah, I have an appearance fee, of course.
Does it include a nice trim of the goatee, or how does that work?
Yeah, no. Now, when it comes to most of my stuff, my appearance fee includes like gas and travel and lodging and stuff like that. So it's all low, and it's got to be because the libraries have budgets and stuff like that. So it's more about the more I can do, the more I make type of thing.
Oh, I think that's excellent. I think that's excellent. And I wish more people would do that, even myself. Like, I've thought about starting something at our local library about having talks about all of this once a month just to see what people's reaction would be and to educate and inform. Do you think you're doing more of an educational service than an informational service?
Yeah, I think it's more so. I just like to try to get people off the couch, and whether that means coming to my program or getting out looking for Bigfoot, or even I'm very clear in my program. It's not even about looking for Bigfoot. It's whatever you want to do outside is just fundamentally better than anything inside, and that's what I try to show and try to express in my programs.
How long is your presentation?
They're an hour long.
Man, I honestly want to see one. I do. I want to see one.
Yeah, you should come out. I don't have
Well, I'm a
any
little
up
far
in.
for a drive, you know.
Yeah, I don't have any up by you scheduled right now, but that doesn't mean I can't come up there.
Well, you know what? We got a place. Oh, do we have a place? Yeah, it's very, very interesting up here right now. And we'll see how it goes this weekend. We got 3 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Bigfoot researcher Mike Familant is our guest tonight on the show. Mike, out of all the stories that you have heard from people taking in your presentation, is there one that stands out?
Um, I don't know. I really do. I know that there's so many people that come up and show me quote unquote evidence of what they believe to be Bigfoot, or a washed out footprint that's probably 3 years old type of thing. And but there's one the other day. There are ones that, like, the other day I was at the Forest County Bigfoot Festival. I was the MC of that, and somebody in the town hall meeting played some audio, and it was really good. And somebody in the audience actually came up to me the next day and was like, "Listen, I was a hardcore skeptic coming into this, and now I'm a diehard true believer after listening to this guy's audio." So that's kind of cool. That's kind of what makes some of the things worth it.
Do you ever have somebody coming up to you and saying, look, I had multiple things happen in one location. I saw a Bigfoot, and the next thing I know, there's a UFO flying over?
Multiple times, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Just the other night I had one.
Could you tell us a story?
Yeah, it was a lady up in upstate New York, and she had on her property. She has ongoing activity with a family of Bigfoot clan that she has, and she sees the orbs pretty consistently, red and blue orbs. And then she also has states that she sees the UAPs or the UFOs flying over her property almost nightly. So that's a very compelling story if it's true. I would love to have the time to go up to investigate it. Unfortunately, I didn't, though. So next time.
Would you have somebody come up and have that kind of interaction with more than one piece of the phenomena? What does it make you think of the area, or have you noticed any trends?
It almost sends up like a red flag for me, because it's like it's so rare and so special to be able to witness like one phenomenon, let alone three almost at the same time. So to be able to have that activity, it's like, man, I would just love to see that for myself. You know?
Well, I want to know about your close encounters. I do. And I'm excited to hear all about them, because I think for a lot of us, we don't get that opportunity, because, like you said, the majority of people don't put themselves in that situation going out there to see. And even if they do, they don't even know if they're in the right area or not. So we're going to talk about that very, very soon. Mike, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Mike Familant is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, we're going to get into some story time with Mike. We got to learn about the big red eye. What is this all about? What is he researching? What's happening there? This could be a lot of fun tonight. Nothing better than Bigfoot on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back. All right, we are clear.
Sweet.
Nice.
How we doing?
We're doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Dirty Filth, how you doing? Give us a thumbs up if you hear us, Dirty Filth.
Nope.
He's giving us a thumbs up. He just
He's
can't see him.
there. It is.
There he is. All right.
I nailed my tea. I'm dying.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Hate it.
What's that?
Dirty, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm getting anxiety for tomorrow night. Getting anxiety. I will be sick to my stomach if we lose to Florida for the second year in a row.
Okay, I'm alive now, Dave.
Yeah. Leecham and Woo-Poo, how you doing? All right.
How long is the commercial break?
We have another 3.5 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Lots of time.
Yeah,
Lots of time.
Do you guys do festivals up your way?
There aren't a lot in Canada. There was
Yeah.
a small one at our local museum this past weekend. And Tim, our UFO guy, and I, we did it, but we're going to help them improve on that for next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. There's not. We have a ton of festivals over the East Coast over here.
Yeah. Well, the difference between what you guys do and what happens up here is a lot of the groups down there and areas, because they're so used to the paranormal and everything, they've seen the benefits of paranormal tourism.
Yeah.
Whereas up here, if we don't talk about it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what it is.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't like it, but we'll see. Brendan Ryan, how you doing? Ozzy, nice to see you. Hi, Carol Amario. Amanda, how are you tonight?
You got a lot of people watching.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
It's fun. It makes
You
up
still-
for not having anybody there.
I feel you. Sometimes at my library presentations, there's like 2 people, and it's like, oh man. You still do questions at the end?
Yeah. Hour 2 we'll take questions, bud. Holy cow. Excuse me. How rude. I had a long day at my daytime job today. It was awesome.
You have a daytime job?
Yeah.
That stinks.
Yeah. We're trying slowly but surely to make it a one job type of life.
Yeah.
We got some work to do, though. All Hi, Miss Tessa. How are you? All right, we got about 45 seconds here. Thank you to Zen2 for our lone super chat tonight. It's a lonely one, but a good one. All the way from Nebraska, hanging on out. Said, hey, Dave's a nice guy. So thank you for kicking off the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell for our channel, because we're like here 7 days a week. We got no lives, people. We got no lives but to do this. So that's what we do. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why, Tim?
We don't have any ugly swag.
No ugly swag. Apparently that's hard to say for Tim.
Yep.
And, yeah, we're going to get going right now. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. The Big Red Eye on tap. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate you hanging on out with us as we get into the Bigfoot with Mike Familant. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you know our archives are always free on every major podcast network, on YouTube. Yeah, we're everywhere. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. We got Mike Familant, the Big Red Eye on tap. Okay, explain to everybody who or what the Big Red Eye is.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 1972, State Park Ranger in New Jersey's High Point State Park, which is in Sussex County, New Jersey, where I'm from, was doing a night patrol. And he saw two pairs of reflecting red eyes during his patrol. And he wrote this down in his report. I guess he got made fun of a little bit by his buddies. And then somehow the newspaper got a hold of this report. And thus the name, the next day in the newspaper, front page of the newspaper, Sussex County's Bigfoot, Big Red Eye, was born.
How did you take it up?
What do you mean?
Like, how did this become what you do?
The show?
Yeah, just in everything that you do with the show and the tour and everything. What made you all of a sudden decide to say, hey, man, I'm going to take on this Big Red Eye and go look for it?
Yeah, I think it's just a fascinating thing, especially after having that first experience and having our second experience with seeing some eyes in the forest that kind of relates to this Big Red Eye story. And I was really looking for a name of the show that really, signifies what Bigfooting's all about. And Big Red Eye is Sussex County, New Jersey's Bigfoot, and in the shadow, meaning we're always one step behind it, which we are. We find footprints, and that means we're one step behind Big Red Eye.
So when you're out in the forest looking for this, are you out walking the trails? Are you out going deep into the forest? Are you somebody like myself who will just sit back and allow them to come to you once you find a hotbed area?
Depends on how I'm feeling. If it's late in the tour, because I'll camp. I just got off a 25-day camping trip. So if like it's day 24 and I'm not feeling it, I'm just gonna play the routine camper technique and just relax along, at camp. But other times I'll do night hikes and I'll do the calls and stuff. I know that's not, like we talked about last time, not something that you necessarily are into doing, but I think it's kind of fun. We've gotten some pretty cool responses that way, myself. So that's what we do.
Do you ever get the feeling, though, when you're at night where all of a sudden it's kind of like it's time to leave?
Yeah, once I did. And I would relate that to Bigfoot infrasound, I think. I was on this trail that I could do a million times, and I've done it. I've done it. I can't tell you how many times, but the one time I did it, and it felt like I hit something, and like a wall, and I saw a tree break that wasn't there the week prior, and I was like, man, I got to get out of here. And I actually called my friend, and I was like, you got to pick me up. Like, I'm turning around. So that was the one hike I've never finished was that, and I can relate that to Bigfoot infrasound, and that's just because I've never felt anything like that ever before in my life.
Right. You know that happens at both of our locations here to my buddy Tim and I.
That's interesting.
Every time we're there, and it's usually around at the one location. It's usually around anywhere from 9:45 to 10:45 at night, and the other location, which seems a little bit more gruff and aggressive, it seems like it's around 10 about 10-15 minutes after sunset.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Makes
not
you
a
want to get out
comfortable
of there.
feeling, right?
No, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. Makes you want to get out of there.
Yeah. So for people who may not know what you're talking about with the infrasound and what it feels like, maybe go into some detail about that.
So other primates can do it. It's a sound that we as people can feel, but we can't hear. It's actually below our hearing range. So we know like gorillas has this capability. Lasulas, which is a smaller type of monkey, have this capabilities. Elephants have this ability to create this low pitched thing, which is designed to stun prey, which causes confusion in the prey, so that it kind of stops them from running away, which will obviously cause an easier meal for them. So with humans, it doesn't cause us to necessarily be stunned, but it causes, I believe, this. I feel like it's this reaction that just causes you to have this intense fear, and this the hair stand up on your every hair stand up on your body, and just every ounce of energy says that you should not be in the woods right now.
So that one time that you felt it, what led up to that situation?
I just wanted to go for a hike. It was post winter, so I was like cooped up, and I had the cabin fever type thing, and I was like, man, I just need to go for a hike. And that was it. It was a quarter-mile hike, and it was the quickest quarter-mile I've ever done.
Could you tell where the eyes were watching you from?
That time I didn't see any eyes. That was the police officer that saw the eyes with the big red eye.
No, but just in general, did you feel like you were being watched?
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. I didn't know from where. I had the feeling it was from in front of me, but I couldn't see any other things. There's no other thing. I think if I stayed there any longer, I probably would have gotten rocks thrown at me. That was probably the next course of action for a Bigfoot, but I'm not positive. I wasn't going to stick around to find out. That was not a good feeling.
Any growls or anything at you?
Nothing. No vocalizations, nothing else, nothing, no tree knocks, nothing that I heard anyway.
Man, it's so intimidating when that happens, because usually you're just minding your own business, waiting for something cool to pop out, and then all of a sudden you get this instant fear inside of you, like, if we don't go now, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's such an uncomfortable feeling, eh?
Yeah, it's not a good feeling, and the only thing I can relate that to is this infrasound that we were talking about.
Do you think then that they're doing it to harm us, or do you think they're doing it because they know that it'll scare us out?
Yeah, probably the latter. I think probably to scare us away. my first experience where I got the rocks thrown at me, we could have easily got hit with those rocks. However, we didn't. So I think that it was their intent to kind of scare us out of the area. And I think they use this infrasound to do the same exact thing because it worked in my situation. I got out of the area.
It's amazing how when things like that happen, how small you feel in the forest at that point. You don't feel like the big man on campus that nothing's going to happen.
Especially at nighttime too, when you can't see anything.
See, in our areas, we don't do that silly stuff by go out at night into the forest and get out and hike because there's a lot of things out there that might want to eat you.
Yeah, you got to be careful where you guys are. That's for sure.
So when you're doing that, you're tracking down an area, do you do your homework on what wild animals are out there?
Have to, yeah, for sure. The one time I did not do my homework, and this is just a recent trip I was on, and the brood X cicadas were overwhelming the campground. Like at night you couldn't walk without crunching on these things. Like you couldn't open your car door without them flying in. So that I did not do my homework on that. So now next time I go to the Smokies in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna get an Airbnb.
Have you ever been chased down by a cougar or a bear?
No, actually. So I live in the highest density of bear population in the United States. Sussex County, New Jersey, has the highest density of black bear population east of the Mississippi, and I have seen a bear 5 times when I've been out hiking, and I'm out hiking all the time. So it's I've never come across. They say we don't have mountain lions up here. I'm pretty sure I was stalked by a mountain lion one time in High Point State Park, but they say we don't have them here. So that's the same way that say in Pennsylvania. They also say they don't have them in Maryland, but I found a mountain lion track in Maryland, which I casted. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. When you throw in a little bit of grizzly bears and some moose, that's always a big issue in our area here.
Man,
never mind the mountain lions. No.
Yeah,
No,
we just have to. We got bear, coyotes. That's the biggest thing we got, and the big thing is ticks and spiders and other people. Those are 3 things I look out for in the woods.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen every time. You do have to be careful. That's why I don't like wearing shorts in the forest, man. Always pants and a ball cap. You know? But, I mean, I have Tim usually with me, and, you know, at his age, you know, his flaky skin is quite a repellent, you know? So, excuse me. But tell us a story about a close encounter that you've had.
Yeah, our let's see. Second encounter was pretty cool. That was when so after we left this this expedition, our first expedition, we're like, oh man, we got to figure out what is capable of throwing these rocks at us. So we started researching everything, you know, watching all the shows on TV. And in about a 3-week time frame, we decided that we are now professionals. Okay. So we go out camping solo, me and Jimmy by ourselves. And we go hiking at night. Jimmy's got this spotlight, and we about a mile and a half from camp down this trail, we saw 2 pairs of reflecting eyes, and I have a little visual. One pair was fire engine red, kind of like this, and the other pair was aqua blue. And Jimmy and I, we thought it was people. We didn't realize people don't have eye shine at night. Like we don't see like our pets can. But we were so new to this whole Bigfoot thing, we thought that it was people. So we start yelling to the thing, or to the people that we thought it was, and they nothing, no reply back. And we thought that they were poachers, illegally poaching. So we're like, crap, we got to get out of the area. And now, so then the one set, the red set, turns and looks at the other set, and turns and looks back at us, and then blinks, and we were like out of there, no question about it. Jimmy put a notch in the tree with his machete, and we went back the next day, and we saw that the eyes were about 7. That we did a recreation where, because that's what we saw him do on TV. So we did 7.5 foot tall eyes, about 2 feet apart from each other. So there was no, unless that was 2 owls of different species sitting on a limb that didn't exist there. I think we saw 2 Sasquatch that evening.
Wow. Wow. How close were you to them?
We were about 50 yards from. They were about 50 yards from the trail. The eyes were.
That's not far.
No, it's a little. What's interesting too is like we shine the light away for a minute, and before we left, then we shine the light back, and the eyes were gone, which really freaked us out. And when we went back, we saw where the eyes kind of were, and we saw this big imprint in the sand that resembled a hand. But we were so new to looking for Bigfoot that we were looking for big feet, not big hands.
I'm the guy, when I'm out there, I always forget to take a picture.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the truth. I am totally the guy who always forgets to take the picture. I don't know why, but I just am. Like, I'm always like, oh, man, that's so cool. And then all of a sudden something happens, and I'm like 20 minutes later, why didn't I take a photo of that? I am so that guy. It drives me nuts.
Oh, man.
Never been the photo guy. Never been the photo guy.
I'm the one with the camera, always carrying around that thing. It's always on, always recording. People are always shielding their face from me, saying, oh, I don't want to be on camera today. Too bad. I'll edit you out.
Well, you know what? I think it's important that you always got to keep your head on a swivel. And, like with Tim's and my project that we're doing up here, we're complete amateurs at this. We're kind of learning on the fly as we go. Because even though I've been in this topic for 14 years now, I'm not a researcher. I'm the furthest thing from it. But the one thing I am is a good storyteller. And so Tim and I putting everything on YouTube in making these little mini docuseries that we've been doing. We're 3 in now. It's something where we're learning on the fly of what to do and what not to do when it comes to audio, when it comes to video, when it comes to, boy, we missed that camera angle or whatever it may be. Like we're always kind of on the fence with everything that we're trying to do here, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
We got 6 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour or the top of the hour. And our guest tonight is Mike Familant on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Bigfoot is his game. Have you ever found a long set of tracks?
I found a trackway down in the Pine Barrens. It was a juvenile set of tracks, about 1.5 miles from the closest trailhead. We found 39 juvenile footprints. They were about 9 inches big or so. And we found 30, I think it was 39 of them. We casted the best 9 of them. And to this day, I still can't imagine there being a kid 1.5 miles from the closest trailhead running barefoot in the Pine Barrens. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I think we found some juvenile Bigfoot tracks, which is really cool.
As you were finding them, I mean, were they blatantly obvious, or did you have to search hard for them?
Well, we just walked down to the riverbank and we're like, hey, this is probably a pretty good place for a trail camera. And it was, because that's where we found these footprints. It was pretty cool. We were just taking, like I said, we were off trail hiking, so it wasn't like there was a trail leading up to this location. It was a random find.
How has your success been with the trail cams? Because so many Bigfoot hunters over the years have stated that the minute they go up, it just seems to not have anything happen, or it doesn't work, or the batteries die, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think I have two or three of them. I generally don't put them up anymore. It's a lot of work to put them up and to look at the photos and stuff. Not saying it's not a lot, If I do put them up, what I'll do is I'll put them around my camp, and I'll try to triangulate them so there's only one opening. I'll face them like into camp, or yeah, I'll face them into camp, and there'll be just one opening where Bigfoot will be able to come into camp, because I think they could see the infrared on these trail cameras, so they'll avoid the infrared. So if we leave one opening, and Bigfoot's, we think is also an inquisitive species, he's going to come in and say, "Ooh, let's check this out." And I'm going to be sitting right in the middle of that with my thermal imaging camera, getting a clear video of him.
Have you found that having a camera out there has been successful for you in trying to film them?
No, not at all. I've gotten some close-ups of some cool animals: deer, bear, fox, coyotes, but nothing. I've never had anything that I could come across as a Sasquatch on a trail camera before. No.
Man, what would you do if all of a sudden that happened?
Yeah, I don't know. That's that would be cool. That would leave me in the conundrum of, do I want to share this with anybody or not? Like, like, I'm always recording with my good camera, and if I ever get clear HD footage of Bigfoot, am I ever going to show that to anybody? We don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know if I would either. I'm not even, a lot of people will say, "What do you mean you caught a great video, or you caught something awesome? Why wouldn't you show it off, man?" But there's a reality to that. I mean, people in the Bigfoot world, and the cryptid world, and the UFO world, they're not normal people.
Mm.
And the last thing you need is to have another Patterson-Gimlin incident where you're getting death threats over a Bigfoot video.
Yeah, that's the other crazy part about it too. Is I don't want to do. I want to make sure that the species is protected appropriately, and I think they've been doing a pretty good job at hiding from us for quite some time, as it is right now. So, why wouldn't they keep doing that?
Do you think then, with about 2 minutes to go here, do you think then that it is possible to get that high quality, that high resolution photo or video anymore? And would it make a difference?
Well, with AI, it's very difficult now to even think about photographic and video evidence, because anything could be made up. So that puts a real damper on our research and our trying to film something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It happens. It happens. Do you think then that there will come a day where maybe you can somehow cancel out that infrared that isn't picked up? Can you camouflage a camera that's going to help you out, or put it higher up in a tree?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I don't think we have the technology to do that yet. I'm sure, like, the military does. They have, and they say they have no glow cameras and stuff like that. But they still, it's called the PIR sensor. It's a sensor in the camera that's always on. It always emits energy. We just, as people, can't see it. But I think, how he said Bigfoot can see a little differently than we could see. I think Bigfoot just could see this camera or light that it emits or this energy and avoids it. So
Yeah.
it would make sense. I mean, if you have a little intelligence, why not?
Well, we aren't dealing with a definitely a small-minded creature here. They seem to be very brilliant when it comes to trying to figure out all of this intention and all of this really cool technology. They seem to know how to step aside from it, which is odd for us because we don't really understand how. But we're going to find out more. Bigfoot researcher Mike Familant is my guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to take audience questions an hour or two, along with more Bigfoot talk in the cryptid world.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. Dirty Filth. Mike, we're going to turn it over to Dirty Filth here for a little bit, and he's going to go over some of his cartoons. There you go, Filthy.
Hi, Dave. Bye, Dave. Gonna let the dog man out for a walk now, I guess. Hey, everybody. I hope your evening's going well. Mine was okay. Gotta play with cats when I got home. That's always nice. And not even one of them decided to hang out with me after all the love and affection I gave them. I also want to say thanks for everybody that came by on Saturday and watched my show. In case if you don't know, you can come on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel on Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific. I draw a cartoon on there and ramble about important things and tell stories and answer questions from people in the audience. I have my friend Fox to help me out with that now, so I don't miss anything. Hello, Deb from SAC. Hello, fastest of all Hemis. I'm not choking to death on my tea right now, so that was good. I seem to have a terrible habit of inhaling my tea while I go to take a swig. Thanks, Amanda's Crazy Life channel. I've got some interesting characters that Fox has made up. She's created a couple California night crawlers, so I'll have to show those to everybody on Saturday. Something cloaked zipped across Joe Monk's driveway, apparently. How come we're not talking about this? Maybe it was a predator of some sort. You have to tell us about this now, Joe Monk. Please explain your mysterious creature. It was like, well, hello, Cosmic Joe's Chronicles. I rock, apparently. Well, my mom says I'm cool, so that counts. Also, if you happen to be in Edmonton, in the general area, July 11th to 13th, come down to the White Avenue Art Walk. It's going to be the 400 artists plus there. Just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. And you can stop by and say hi to myself and Fox Vegas and buy yourself a plushie. And anything that survives the art walk will be available for sale afterwards. It comes with original piece of artwork, the plushie, some stickers, adoption papers, and probably some other goodies to throw in there as well. Excuse me. I think they should have... Oops. This thing just scrolls up so fast. That would be a cool idea, rent a dog for camping. I haven't done camping for a while. Sorry about that. Well, I don't have any room for dogs, unfortunately. I don't have a big enough space, and I'm not a big fan of little tiny dogs. They have a big, dog man eating dog. And yes, Andrew Rollins is correct. Uppercut that like button or hit it with a steel chair. Like your championship belt depends on it. And speaking of Dave was saying something about, excuse me, forgetting to take pictures and everything. I have a similar kind of story. I've seen a fox in person twice, and one time, not the accomplice that works with me, but actual fox. I've seen it twice. One time she had her kits with her, and it was interesting because it just walked up out of the ditch onto the highway, and it's kind of funny because it looked both ways, and then it just sauntered away. And the first thing I thought was, wow, that's an absolutely beautiful animal. And so I didn't even think to take my phone out or get a picture or anything. Also, last Wednesday, I was had some stuff to do, and Fox and I went to visit my mom, and we were coming across this field. And at first I thought it was a sawhorse in the middle of the road. And I thought, well, I don't know, it's West Edmonton, so par for the course. So I'm just leave the sawhorse in the middle of the road. Hello, Lon Strickler. Lon has a fancy drawing of a Mothman chasing him down, trying to steal his beard. Anyway, so I was getting closer, and then I went, oh, hey, it's a dog. But then I realized it wasn't a dog. It was a coyote. And the only thing was, it was mostly hairless. It was all mangy and gross. And yeah, first thing we thought, I looked at Fox. She looks at me. I'm like, it's a chupacabra. But it could have been, but I don't think so. So it was pretty interesting. It was all mottled and gross looking and was scratching itself. Poor thing's probably just going to die off soon enough. But yeah, it was interesting. Right in the middle. Normally they don't come up that too far where my mom lives. There's not really a lot of natural areas there. I guess the river valley is a little bit close there. My adopted dad, he works for the city, and they're doing something in the morning one day, and they had to go down into the river valley. And he said that they changed their idea and he decided to go back later because, hello, Ange, because apparently there was about like 8 or 9 coyotes down there. He's like, yeah, we're not going to go down there and clean up anything. We'll wait for a bit. Hi, Dave.
All right, Filthy, I got to cut you off right there. We're coming back in 5 seconds. Here we go, everybody. All right, we're into hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. We're talking Bigfoot with Mike Familant. We'll bring him back momentarily. My name is Dave Scott. Glad you're with us because this is a fun show indeed. And it always is when you get to talk about monsters of the forest. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Saponify. Saponify is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Now, let's go back to Mike Familant. We are having a great time with him talking about his treks all around North America looking for Sasquatch. Mike, what's the best piece of evidence that you've got?
That's a great question. We've gotten a couple things. There's a footprint evidence or a footprint that we came across in the snow a couple years ago that was really cool. But I think the best piece of evidence was a Bigfoot howl that if you go, anybody can go over to my YouTube channel and check out. And it was actually a series of 3 howls. And on the 3rd howl, I actually say, that's not a coyote. But I sent that clip away to a linguist in the military. It's my sound guy. And since I'm not a professional by any means in any field, I send my evidence away to professionals that are, in the correct field. So the sound guy came back and said that because of X, Y, and Z, it's outside of human vocal range and it's no known animal from Northwestern New Jersey. So that's pretty cool.
How long was the howl for?
It was sustained for woo, and it did that like 3 times. So about 4 seconds, sustained 3 times.
Oh my! How far do you think that was from you when that happened? Because that's definitely something that's going to, put some goosebumps on your body, that's for sure.
Yeah, thankfully it wasn't super duper close because I've heard people describe Bigfoot howls like that as of like freight trains running through their chest. So I'm glad that that didn't happen to us. I would give it about a half mile away.
Holy cow. Probably the loudest one I've ever heard. There were a group of 7 of us in 2023, and we actually, way off in the distance, we heard a roar that was probably 15 seconds long, maybe 20 seconds long, and it was just one pitch.
Oh wow.
One pitch, and it was like, come on. You know, like that was scary enough, man.
Yeah, that's some of those some of the audio I've heard from out in like Montana area. There's St. Cloud County, Montana is, or Missouri is, I think it's Montana, is really cool. Some of the sustained howls just can't be anything else besides a Bigfoot. It's just very awesome.
Yeah, I think the funniest one we ever heard was back in 2022 at one of our sites. We had 4 of us had a sighting of about a 10-footer, about 80 yards away from us.
Wow.
And it was in the classic Bigfoot pose, you know, that you see, you know, all the pictures of, you know, kind of like the half side profile, front profile. And it was dark out. It was about 9:45 at night when we saw it. And after he disappeared, because he just vanished, to this day, we don't know how he left.
Right.
And what was weird about it was about 15 seconds later, his buddy way off in the distance, we call him Ric Flair, he was literally going, woo, just like that. And then about 15 minutes after that, closer to us, we hear again, woo! And I'm like, really? Like, Ric Flair's in the forest here?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was insane, man, because I'd never heard that before. And up until that point, I haven't been lucky enough to hear a lot of the hooting or the whooping or anything along those lines. I've heard tree knocks. We've had tree knocks in both of our areas. We've had footprints. We've had the you know, one of the things, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but we've had a lot of like a double stomp on the ground, like a thud thud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's how we tend to know that they're around, is when we hear that thud thud on the ground, and that just seems to all of a sudden trigger everything to all of a sudden kind of begin. And like my buddy Tim, who's right behind in the studio here, when we heard that thud thud, he brought his camera up or his flashlight up to that area, and he actually had a half profile sighting, one behind a tree.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he became a believer that day.
That's cool.
What do you think is your closest interaction to these?
I think so. Up in Whitehall, New York, we do every year. They hold the Whitehall Bigfoot Festival, the White Sasquatch Calling Festival, and we go up there and we do some research and vend and stuff like that. But a couple years ago, we got surrounded by Bigfoot. I think they were maybe 20 yards away from us. We couldn't see them because our lights didn't go as far. You know, they were just as further than our lights go. And we didn't have any recording equipment with us that evening. It was just our audio equipment. But there were at least 3 of them. They were throwing rocks. They were knocking on trees. I mean, you could hear them walking around us, their footfalls, kind of like you were saying. And that's over on my YouTube channel too, so if anybody wants to listen to that.
So when you have something like that, what is your immediate reaction when something like that happens?
Well, you want to get out of the area because it's scary. But in the name of research, you want to stand your ground. We lasted about 6 minutes before we evacuated the area and got out of the area because it was just the rocks were getting too close to us. We thought they were going to start hitting us if we didn't leave, which is probably what they wanted us to do anyway, is to leave the area. So that makes sense.
Have you ever had a situation where you've actually felt frightened for your life by these things?
Frightened for my life? No. I've been in some pretty precarious situations when it comes to like maybe seeing people where I shouldn't see anybody. You know what I mean? Like that kind of situation. I found a bloody doll on the side of the road one time. That was not a cool situation. But have I ever been scared for my life in the woods? No, I haven't.
What is your thoughts on gifting sites?
You have to be really, really lucky, I think, to be able to have a gifting site. You have to have a willing Bigfoot, and it takes a lot of time and effort on the person's half to be able to do this. I tried it one time at my research area here in New Jersey, and it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. I was gifting at this area that had this very interwoven tree structure, and it changed every week when we went back to it. So I started leaving gifts on the top of it, and nothing ever took it or moved it or anything like that or replaced it. So kind of the experiment was unsuccessful.
Yeah, I have two gifting sites now, one in each of our areas. And, the one gifting site we've had, honestly, it's been like nothing gets taken. I got a mirror out there. I got some toys out there. Nothing ever seems to move on that area. My other gifting site, well, they kind of started it. And, well, no, actually, that's wrong. It started off in an original area where we had a little bit of interaction, but this second one, they kind of started it, and so we're kind of playing along with them at this point right now, and like we'll find out when we go back there this weekend to see if there's been any movement whatsoever. But I want to believe in them, but I'll try it because it doesn't hurt anything, but I'm still not sure if that's the right thing to do.
The gifting?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of controversy behind it too, because especially with food, because I know some people leave food out there too, and it's like, should you be feeding wild animals? That's the other thing. My thing is, if you are gifting a Bigfoot, take a GPS, a small little GPS something or another tracker, and throw it in a stuffed animal, like a little stuffed bear or something, and sew it back up and see where it goes.
That's an interesting call. See, our problem that we have in our area, like we don't do food. That's the one thing that we don't do is food. And just that there's too many wild animals where we are. Like in our area so far this year, I mean, we've found a bunch of moose droppings. We've found grizzly bear track, black bear tracks, wolf tracks, coyote tracks. Like there's a lot of animals there that could hurt you bad.
Yeah.
So leaving food just isn't smart.
Yeah. And you got to watch too. It's illegal in some states to bait animals, so you got to check your local laws if you want to do that.
And in British Columbia, it is to bait. You can't bait animals here. But I tell you, I would love to try a jar of peanut butter.
Yes. Open it up.
I think that would be cool.
Close it back up. Yeah. Yeah. See what happens to it.
The only way a bear is going to get in there is if it bites down on it.
And that'll destroy the glass, obviously, or the jar.
I just I'm just trying to think about that. I mean, right now at one of our gifting sites that we got marbles there, blue marbles, because I've heard blue marbles are favorites of theirs. We've got a whistle in in another area, we have a whistle. We have a piece of jade and a piece of quartz.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're going to see how that works out.
Nice. That's a good combination. When you said the mirror too, what do you think about the mirror?
My jury is out. I mean, you got to realize it doesn't matter whether it's a Sasquatch or not. These animals have never seen themselves.
Yeah.
So I often wonder, I'm not just saying Sasquatch, but I'm saying a deer or a bear or whatever it may be, a moose or anything. They've never seen themselves. So I'm curious just to see, how their reaction would be. And only one time was my mirror knocked down. And I can't say for certain it was Sasquatch that did it. But it was very interesting how it was knocked down, because I put it on a tree, on a twig connected to a tree, and that twig was probably 8-9 inches long.
Okay.
And I put the mirror right at the base of the tree. And when I went back there a couple weeks later, the mirror was on the ground, and the handle happened to be tucked underneath the grass, and it was upside down. So the mirror portion was facing the ground, and the handle was tucked in. And we had it in a pretty, Tim's been there, so he knows what I'm talking about. But it's a very tight quarters where we put it. Now, could it have been a hunter who did it? Sure. Could have been. We'll never know. I didn't have a trail cam up there, but we'll see. But I'm just not sold on the mirror.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've heard both things, good and bad things about leaving mirrors out. What I'll do is I've done it in the past, and if I have time, I'll do it. What I'll do is I'll take a bunch of old like Britney Spears CDs, and I'll take fishing line and hang them from a tree. And I'll do this about 30 times. So there's 30 CDs hanging, and they're just spinning. And on the non-reflective side, I'll put double-sided tape and just let them just chill and spin all day. And then if the soil's not good, what I'll do is I'll take some topsoil and put it around underneath where these CDs are to make a good soil base. So in theory, Bigfoot's going to come up, and I'm going to get 3 forms of DNA or 3 forms of evidence. I'm going to get his footprint in the soil. I'm going to get his fingerprint on the shiny side of the CD, and I'm going to get a hair sample on the double-sided tape side. That's I think one of the best ways to try to get evidence of Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's actually sounds really good with that. It really does.
Because if they're inquisitive, they're gonna come up and see what is this shiny stuff hanging from a tree, and it's spinning all around like a disco ball. You know how humans like disco balls. Sure, Bigfoot's gonna like this thing.
Do you not worry though about the CDs reflecting the sun potentially causing a fire?
Never thought about it. You need to have it takes a lot to start a fire, especially with reflecting or refraction. You need to have a mirror. An actual mirror sitting there for minutes just in the direct sunlight to be able to start this fire. So I don't think a CD hanging from a tree is anything to worry about.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that in our area.
Mm.
We're like, we get like massive super fires up here.
Yeah, I think your guys' smoke is blowing down into our area, is it not?
Well, in typical Canadian fashion, we like to share. We're good people that way. So yeah, that's just one of the things that we like to do. Let's quickly get to a question from our audience here. And let's turn this one over to Louisville Charlie, who's asking, do you believe there is someone somewhere that has that evidence that proves Bigfoot is real?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Bigfoot's out there, somebody's got to know that they exist. And I don't even want to bring the G word into it, the government word. But if Bigfoot is real, I think the government probably would have a good knowledge base about him. Does somebody have a sample? Even our citizen scientists that may have this picture that they don't know what to do with, or this hair sample that they just don't have the money to get tested, because we all know we make a ton of money in this field. Um, it's just yeah, somebody does somewhere. It's just a matter of getting that to the right person at the right time at the right place.
Have you ever seen somebody's footage that just you go, wow, this like compares to the Patterson Gimlin film?
Not that it hasn't been seen before. Not that's like unseen footage. No. Uh, I've seen a lot of pictures of screenshots and stuff like that with the pixelization and the faces and the pareidolia and stuff like that, and I get that more than anything else, which is unfortunate.
If you had that $1 million video, would you share it?
Yeah, we kind of touched on this. I don't know if I would. You got to think that if, as a Bigfoot researcher with a documentary style show, um, I would be the probably, and spending as much time in the woods as I do, I'd probably be a very good candidate to get good footage of Bigfoot. Um, Now I come out with the $1 million footage of Bigfoot out of the woods, and I say, boom, here it is. Here it is, YouTube, or here it is, whatever researcher I want to give it to. They're going to be like, well, and there's going to be so many critics who be like, well, this is too good to be true. You just hoaxed this, or this is AI. And it's like, you can never win. It's a double-edged sword. But then you got to go into the question of, do you want to do what you want to do, what's right for these things, and do you want to share that $1 million footage? It'd be nice to have $1 million, but was that going to help protect and protect the species? I don't know.
What do you think Bigfoot is?
I think it's biological. I know you may not be on board with that, but I think it's a biological creature that kind of evolved. I'm going to use the E word a little differently than we did on the evolutionary path that we took, where ancient human back in the day, where that, like I said, just evolved a little differently, and that's why they have some intelligence behind them. And yeah, I think they're related to us for sure.
What about claims that people have that this creature just seems to vanish or disappear? What do you, where's the logic in the illogical? Because I agree with you. I do believe this is flesh. There is flesh and blood to it, but I also think, and it's my opinion. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think anybody's wrong. But I look at it like there seems to be something special and unique about this creature.
Yeah, so I was at a festival this past weekend, and I was one of my two good friends were speaking, and they said in their encounter when they actually had a Class A sighting that Bigfoot was on all fours, and it was faster than the fastest thing you have ever seen in the woods. You blink and it was gone, and that to me means no supernatural capabilities. It's just this thing is like super capable and adapted to the woods and the place that it lives. Um, No, I've had researchers and good friends whom I trust dearly, and they're near and dear to my heart, who say, "Mike, I've seen Bigfoot disappear," and I say,
Mhm.
"Well, I believe you. I can't not believe you." It's just
Hold that thought, Mike. Hold that
Yep.
thought, because we are going to come back here from the break. We got another half hour of Mike Familant talking Bigfoot tonight on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear. One sec, Mike. I got to unmute you here.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, gorgeous Jessica Jones. Steve
Hey,
Garza,
Fred.
how you doing?
Aw.
And who else is awake here at our time? River Dog, how you doing, brother? Gorgeous Kim Jellin, how are you? How's your teeth? Are you flossing right now? Be honest. She has the most perfect teeth. They're perfect.
You got a lot of amazing people in here.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome people.
Flat Rock.
Pretty awesome. Memorial Gardens, how you doing? Flat Rock.
Love Flat Rock.
Could you call him the skipper? That's a dad joke right there. Oh, your name's Flat Rock. I'm going to call you the skipper. It's terrible. Gorgeous Kim Jellin's on the treadmill right now, flossing her teeth and listening at the same time. I don't know how she does it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. By the way, I booked a massage. Yep,
First one.
I did. Tim's wife is a masseuse.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I don't like it when she digs in with her elbows, though. That hurts. She goes like Macho Man Randy Savage on the solar plexus there. I swear she's got a turnbuckle in her massage studio. Vanessa's like, don't be a girly man, Dave. Don't be a girly man. Crave Dog, how you doing? By the way, if you have not seen episode 3 of Something in the Forest, is that what we titled it? Something in the Forest? Yeah, Something in the Forest. You could go watch number 3. We put it up last night. I'm going to get better rather than putting it on a Sunday night at like 11:15 when the majority of you are like off to bed. I promise I'm going to get better. Maybe do it during the week or something. And I'm trying to put it around when our schedule isn't happening. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up next time and then set it for, like Ron Popeil, set it and forget it. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Mr. Catfish, how you doing? Interesting. I'm just tired of listening to Kim Jellen type that she's running on the treadmill right now. It's making me tired. Thank you tonight to Zen2 and Debaruni for the super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support of SOR, so thank you very, very much. Ugh. What do I got? I got 2 more hours in the studio. Yay!
Oh, man.
Yeah, Tim, you're going to have to carry this one tonight. I'm going to take a little nappy poo. Yeah. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why, Tim?
We do not have ugly swag.
No ugly swag, and Tim's called that one. So good job, Tim. You didn't butcher that one, because I know it's hard. Remember, Wednesday night, Grant and Lee will be back for UFO Max, and then Lee and Tim on Friday night before my show, and then after hours with Sweets. And here we coming back in 7 seconds. All right, here comes the second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for taking the time to spend the woo with us. You know, we are your daily woo fix each and every night. We're glad to be here for you. And we'll bring Mike Familant in. We have until the top of the hour talking Bigfoot. But first, we want to remind everybody that if you missed portions of this show or others, you know our archives are always free. Why? Because I want them that way. You pay for too much in life. So you get my archives for free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Now, right before the break, you were talking about, you know, Sasquatch there, and I'm telling you, these audience questions are pretty damn good. So we'll get to another one from Walter, who's asking you, Mike, have you had any run-ins with the Jersey Devil in the Pine Barrens?
No, I haven't. I will say I have been down there looking for the Jersey Devil. We actually ended up going out with a very popular YouTuber, and we ended up getting some goat's blood, acquiring some goat's blood, and smearing it all up and down this tree, putting a trail camera along it. And you'll have to watch the episode to see if we found anything. But that was an interesting little experiment we did. But have any solid evidence of the Jersey Devil? No, I can't say I have.
Do you believe it exists?
No, you know, it's hard for me to say that the Jersey Devil does exist. I think it may have at one point. If it did, I think also it's very well possible that it's a misidentification of, like, New Jersey doesn't have too many. It's this big bird. It's called a sandhill crane. It's a very rare bird to have in New Jersey, but we do have some. And I think back in the day where all these creatures, they look and they sound like crazy. And I think back in the day when all these sightings were happening, that it was just kind of a misidentified sandhill crane flying around.
I just saw a family of sandhill cranes on Sunday.
No, they're beautiful birds.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, they are a delicacy in Texas.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is that they have a lot of good meats on them. They're hearty eats, as they say. Hearty eats. Now, I don't know who they are when I say that. They say, because that's all we have is they, you know. Have you ever been in a territory where you were there for just couple minutes and you were like, nope, I'm getting out of here. This is just too creepy?
Nah, I try to stick it out as much as I can. It's when um, there's no cell phone service that I get really kind of skeeved out a little bit, because it's like I don't have a GPS thing. I gotta get one, but so it's like that's my only thing. And if I get hurt or something like that, but has anything creeped me out of the woods besides that one incident that we talked about before with the infrasound? No, not really.
Mhm. Let's head over to Kim here. Do you think aliens are biological or more woo?
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty sold on the Bigfoot thing. I haven't really got into the whole alien thing. It's got to be a little bit of both. I think they got to be. I mean, got to be I don't know. That's a great question. I have no idea. What do you
What
think?
kind of UFOs were people seeing in reports that you've heard of where they've had a Sasquatch encounter and then a UFO sighting?
Well, the one that I've seen was just a glowing ball in the sky going back and forth. So I can't relate that to like anything biological or woo. I don't know what that is. But up close sightings, I mean, I don't know. There's a couple really compelling stories up in the Lake Erie area that would lead me to believe that they're more of the they can appear type of thing and disappear. But I don't know. I've never seen anything like that, so I can't say it happens.
So when you are hearing these stories, and I realize you're a biological guy, and I think that's cool, but when you hear these stories of people having Sasquatch vanish right in front of them, what is your what is a what do those stories sound like?
They I would challenge anybody to show me evidence of like show me Bigfoot vanishing in a video or something like that, and I have yet to see a compelling video of a Bigfoot vanishing on video. So, and I've never seen it with my own two eyes. So like you know, if you know, people say that they could be both biological and intradimensional, and that to me is you know, you can't. It's very difficult for me to explain a mystery with another mystery.
It is kind of cool, though.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. It is cool. It's an intriguing concept.
I could see that. You know, I know that night when we saw the 10-footer, we have no idea how it disappeared.
Yeah.
No idea whatsoever how it disappeared. It just vanished. If it would have went to its left, our right, we would have heard it climb over the fallen trees.
Hmm.
If it went to its right, our left, we would have seen it have to cross a logging road and go up about an 8-foot embankment. If it came forward, we would have seen it. If it went backwards, we would have seen it disappear into the darkness, and we saw none of that. It was the strangest thing.
Yeah. And so what do you think happened?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened in between the sighting and the result of it just being gone.
Right.
That I can't put my finger on.
That's intriguing. Yeah. I wish I could experience that.
It was odd. It was completely odd. And you know, when you're having a sighting with multiple people while this is going on, and they can't figure it out either. I mean, but that's what this is all about: is the mystery. You
True.
know,
True.
and you know what? Hey, you have your beliefs on what it is. Mine may be a little bit different. Another person's may be a little bit different as well. But you know what? That's the beauty of it, is I don't know if any of us are wrong.
Yes. No. And we will, you know, hopefully, if everything goes correctly, we'll never know, and we'll always have the opportunity to have our opinions. You know, that's the other thing with finding Bigfoot is if you find Bigfoot, you are going to close a lot of doors for people's imagination.
And until we get a body, we really don't know what we're dealing with. We can assume, but that's all it is assumptions.
Absolutely. We guess. Good guesses.
And fun guesses. See,
Yeah.
that's my thing. Like with the UFO world, especially since the government really got involved, it's taken a lot of fun out of the whole ufology aspect of it. And you know, I realize there's some bad apples and bad players in the Bigfoot world. There are in the paranormal world, and that's quite okay. I mean, you're going to get those. But I really hope that we never solve this mystery. I hope people solve it for themselves with their own sightings, their own evidence, you know, of footprints or maybe bed markings or structures or X's in the trees, or maybe they find a handprint. I think that's great. But to actually have this mystery solved once and for all, I'm not sure I want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with you. 100%. And like we kind of talked about, I think somebody does have that clear footage, that 100% footage, and you know, are they going to release that? I hope they don't.
I hope they don't either. Let's go to Flat Rock. Speaking of that, outside of the Patterson Gimlin film, what do you think is the most credible evidence you believe to be real?
Video wise, I think there's a more of a recent video out of, I think it's Provo, Utah, of a Bigfoot chucking a rock in at somebody, and that one was pretty compelling. I'm not sure, you know, if that one was determined to be a hoax or not, but it looked pretty cool to me. It looked like what a Bigfoot would do. So I think it's the Provo, Utah Bigfoot rock throw video or something like that.
I haven't seen that one. I'd love to see that one.
YouTube
My
it.
favorite video, have you ever seen the military helicopter footage of the black and white Sasquatch running through night vision, running through the trees at night?
No, I don't think I've seen that one either.
That one is incredible. It's hard to find online, but I got it sent to me about 5-6 years ago, and it totally trips me out. Totally trips me out because you literally see the creature like jump, and it must have jumped a good span of about 15 feet minimum.
Oh wow,
It was kind of wild to see how that played out.
that's cool. I'll have to look that up. What's it called?
I don't know what it's called, but it's just like a military helicopter footage, like night vision footage of a Sasquatch.
Okay, I'll have to search it. That's cool.
Let's go to Louisville here. What about people who are following tracks and they suddenly stop? Where do you think they went?
So yeah, I don't know. That's another good thing is I've never experienced that, but I will tell you one story of a professor in central New Jersey at this one very respected college, and he was following these Bigfoot tracks like a mile through the snow one winter, and it was in this forest area, and all of a sudden the tracks stopped, and he was like, oh my goodness, he was so totally biological, and he's like, this is now I got to think that I got to change my whole philosophy of what Bigfoot are. This is crazy, so he went back. The next day he returned back to where the footprints stopped, but they continued where they stopped the day prior. So he was like, what is going on? So he never looked up. They think Bigfoot, we think Bigfoot might have been in the tree above him, and he was looking all around to where Bigfoot could have been, but they never looked up in the tree. He could have saw Bigfoot clear as day right there, but never looked up.
Yeah, you never look up. We just started looking up. the other day, and we think we may have caught a photo of a Sasquatch in a tree.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Like, you just see the face. I don't know. We're getting it looked at right now. People who we've had look at it and break it down, they tend to believe that it could be a face, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that 100% definitive proof that it is.
Of course, yeah.
Why is proof so hard?
Well, it's a fun journey trying to get it, that's for sure.
So when you go on your adventures through the United States and people are telling you their stories, that about their encounters or their sightings, have you ever had anybody claim to have dogman encounters?
Um, they're very hesitant because when they come up and they say, here's my thing is I spent a significant amount of time in the woods and I've never come across anything that I can't relate to anything but Bigfoot. And when I tell people that, they're hesitant to tell me their dogman or their mothman or their other cryptid stories, and I get that, but I'm not gonna lie and tell them, I believe in something that I don't believe in.
So you don't believe in the dogman?
I've never experienced it. Again, just with like the intradimensional or the UFO Bigfoot, I've never experienced anything like that, so I can't say that it exists.
What does exist?
That's a great question. What doesn't exist? You can't prove something doesn't exist though.
How do you go to bed at night thinking that way? That would make my brain hurt. I don't even want to think that right now. No way. It's too late at night. I can't be thinking that stuff right now.
Hey, it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning over on the East Coast, my friend.
Oh, I get you. I get you. So at that point, if you've never experienced dogman or anything like that, have you had encounters with other cryptids or paranormal activity?
The only other paranormal activity I could relate to you would be I was on a ghost hunt adventure, whatever, one time, and it scared the crap out of me. I am never gonna do another ghost hunt. I'd rather track down an 8 foot tall bipedal primate or hominid than something that you can't see. That's crazy in itself. But the thing that was a little creepy is they had like an SLS camera, which I'm not quite sure how it works, but it's one of these cameras that emits like a laser something. I don't know, but we found this figure and it was doing everything that we asked it to do, and I didn't like that because that shouldn't happen because nothing was there.
Nothing that you could see.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was on the toilet.
Oh, wow. Well, that's fun. That's a load of fun right there. Do you think there will come a day when we actually, can say or confirm Bigfoot is alive, but, try and keep it out of the government hands?
I think if you haven't experienced yourself, that'll be enough of an answer for people that are looking for Bigfoot. Um, a lot of the hunters that I've talked to say that they've had Bigfoot in their crosshairs, but they just can't pull the trigger because it's too human-like. Then they're set. Some of those people never go into the woods again their entire lives. That's got to mean something. So without the government getting involved or whatever, do I think we're ever going to truly know as a society if Bigfoot exists? No, but I think there's going to be people that do know. There's going to be the knowers out there, and those are going to be the people that keep the community alive.
the younger generations that are coming up and learning about this, what's your message to, say, the young lads or ladies out there who are like, I want to go looking for Bigfoot? What's your advice?
Do it. Absolutely. I wouldn't say, drop everything and devote your life to it because, let's tap the brakes there for a second, but get into it. Even if it's not Bigfooting that you're into, it could be like photography or fishing or hiking or backpacking or survivalists or anything, you know. I can rub two sticks together and make a fire now. I think that's incredible. Never could I thought I could do that. Um, but just it's the whole point of getting outside into nature, and that's what I like to tell all the young kids that come out to my programs. It's, see something that you wouldn't see sitting on the couch every day.
For people who may not have been in the forest looking for it, I mean, what is the reality of them actually seeing something like a Bigfoot?
Yeah, it's slim to none, or 98%, one of the two. If you're a lucky one, you're gonna see Bigfoot the first time, or if you're non-lucky like me, it's gonna be you're gonna. I've been in the woods since 2011 looking for Bigfoot, and I've can count on one hand the number of really good things that I've come across. So and I've never seen one myself as it is. I've never laid eyes on a Bigfoot. So yeah, I don't know. It's if you're interested in getting into Bigfoot field research, you can check out my YouTube channel. It's got a series called Squatchables on it, which I did not steal from Lunchables. Don't get
It
me for
makes me
that.
hungry now. There's Sasquatch cookies out there somewhere.
Somewhere sitting on a log waiting for Bigfoot.
Right. I want to ask you this because Tim and I experienced this a week ago. Have you ever been surrounded by squirrels and chipmunks and they keep getting closer and closer and closer? You may not see them, but all of a sudden, they usually start off in the distance and let all of nature know that you're there. But then all of a sudden, like, you're surrounded by them and they're chirping and peeping all around you.
I have just this couple camping trips ago that happened.
What do you think that was?
I think the people before us fed them.
Our area is usually silent. And there's not a lot of foot traffic up there.
Okay.
And then Tim and I were sitting there, and it was right before that infrasound came in that told us to leave now. And all of a sudden, the squirrels started off getting louder and louder and closer and closer and closer and closer to the point where that you could hear them hopping through the trees all around us, like that first row of trees all around us, because we're like in a mini cul-de-sac in the forest. Like, it's big enough for one vehicle. And the trees that surround that cul-de-sac all of a sudden have these squirrels and chipmunks just going crazy haywire for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And then all of a sudden they kind of went quiet again. Like, just boom, silent, gone.
Yeah. Well, I know, I mean, they're inquisitive creatures for sure. The whole silent thing, maybe you scared them somehow. I don't know. It's intriguing though. It's weird that happened. They would get closer and closer.
Well, right before that happened, we actually had a couple of K2 meters going absolutely haywire. I mean, you can check out the video on our YouTube channel, but and I suggest you do because it is kind of fun. But these two K2 meters that we had, and there's no electricity out there, there's no batteries, there's no cable lines buried or anything. They had these K2 meters going crazy, and then all of a sudden the squirrels went nuts, and then we got hit with the infrasound.
Okay. That's weird, yeah. Huh.
We only got about a minute left with you, if that.
Oh
Could you
no.
do me a favor? Tell everybody where they can find your YouTube channel and information.
Yeah, YouTube is Sussex County Bigfoot NJ, or just search In the Shadow of Big Red Eye is the name of the show. We have a rockin' Etsy that we sell some really cool Bigfoot merch on. We have Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, YouTube. You can shadowofredeye.com is our website.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. Coming
Yep.
up next, we have Swamp Dweller, then Little Timmy James in studio for the UFO Report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job tonight, Mike. Thank you.
That was good. I like that. I enjoyed it.
That was a lot of fun. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for staying up late for us.
Oh, no problem. That was fun. You just want me to leave the studio now? Is that what I do? Okay.
Yeah, I'll kick you out of here. But thank you very much, my friend, and enjoy your time and be safe out in the woods.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Take care.
See ya.
Mike Familant, everybody. We'll be right back. Great guest. Fantastic guest. right. Little Timmy James, your camera's crooked. Totally whacked out. Totally whack, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally whack. Interesting. Yeah, you're loud. You are loud. Let me take a look here. Oh, you look great. You look great. Let's bring you on. All right. Big thank you tonight to our two super chatters, Debaruni and Zen2. Thank you for the love and support. Don't forget you can check out Tim's and my new video on our YouTube site. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you watch it after the show. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Man, this one's flying on by. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Saponify. Saponify is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. This might sound strange, but as a child I used to see things that are not normal. And not just that, I also suffered from sleep paralysis, which started when I was 11 years old. And when I experience sleep paralysis, I often see otherworldly creatures or leave my body. Aside from all of this, I have had other strange paranormal experiences too. But there is one creature I often see. I have written about it before. This angel-like creature that often visits me. This angel-like creature is tall, shaped like a human, but tall with angel-like wings, completely dressed in white and faceless, but speaks with a woman's voice. It has told me many times before that if I ever have any troubles in life, then I might just call on its name. When I ask who he is, it usually doesn't reply, but finds a way to draw a cross so that I can see it, and so that I am left with the image of a cross burnt into my mind. So, this one cold evening, I was out after dark. I was in my 20s. I drew cold air and suddenly, it seemed like I was smoking like a chimney when I exhaled. My hands were freezing. I was out camping with friends and my husband, and I had gotten myself lost. I left to go to the bathroom, but being a curious creature, the urge to go on a dark adventure suddenly distracted me. I left the bathroom and declined to go back to the campsite. I decided to rather go into the bushes, into that area, which we were not actually allowed to go. They had closed the area off, and it made me exceedingly more curious as to why. I climbed over the chain they had placed between the two trees and ignored the no entry sign. I ventured deeper and deeper into the dark. I suddenly heard something. I followed the sound. It turned out to be a water buck. It ran off and scared me. I sighed with relief. I held tighter to my torch. Suddenly, the air became even colder. I ventured off deeper into the dark. When I turned around after deciding that it was too dangerous now, and realized that I was lost, I had been met with a crossroads, and didn't know which path or road led back to the campsite anymore. My heart began to pound a little. I tried my best not to panic, but then I heard a weird sound that I knew all too well. It is a strange sound that is usually made by that angelic-like creature that I mentioned earlier. Since I was a kid, I've heard it several times, and I knew, if it was near, there was always something to be scared of, because danger was always not far away. Like all the other times before I had seen it, bad things shortly happened after. It was only then that I realized that there were other familiar beings there as well, that I have also seen before. But these ones I believe I've only seen once or twice. 3 shadow figures that chased and hunted me down when I was little. They created the sound of this utterly evil laughing. Then I saw them stretching out their shadowy hands towards me, and they began to move towards me fast. Following the moonlight to keep themselves visually in sight, I dropped my torch and began to run. I suddenly remembered the cross the angelic creature drew before. I turned around, and before I could even say his name, these 3 shadow figures just disappeared. Still lost, I saw a small narrow path that led from one of the main pathways that I was on even deeper into the bushes. I began following it, curiosity overtaking me again. Then I came across an old building that looked like it had been out of use for many years. I didn't have my torch with me anymore, but luckily it was a full moon, and I could see somewhat well. I tried peeking in through the windows. Each window I peeked in revealed darkness. It was too dark inside the building for me to see anything on the inside, though. Not even the full moon helped with that. But I tried another window too. I decided to try all of the windows, and to my greatest regret, I saw, inside the cabin, some sort of creature. I don't even know how to describe it. I guess my best comparison would be a werewolf of some sort. This thing looked like it was messing with an axe, though, or carrying it or something. Because I could see it, or rather hear it, swinging it around. I ran back as fast as I could. I had no idea where I was going, but eventually, I made it back to where there was a security guard for the campground. I told them all about everything, but he didn't believe me and reassured me there was no such thing out there. Eventually, I made it back to my tent, but I never slept. I've never really told anybody about what happened that night, because I don't think people will believe me.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another crazy, spooky story. If you want more just like that, check out Swamp Dweller on YouTube. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and hopefully, you'll fall asleep like I do, listening to thousands of his stories, creeping you out each and every night, making your heart race right before you go to bed. Let's head to the UFO report. Little Timmy James.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
All right, Little Timmy James, back in the hot seat of the UFO report. We took a week off, Flight 21.
We most certainly did.
How do you feel about that?
I would have rather have been there, to tell you the truth.
So let's kind of break that down a little bit.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So there was a tiny little speaking engagement, Paracon, if you want to call it that, at our local museum this past weekend. And Tim and I were asked to speak. And we spoke about Flight 21 for about an hour, and then, there was literally about 10 people there, but it was still fun.
Sure, no, yeah, it was, yeah.
So then that night, instead of being out in the forest where we wanted to be, we had to do a ghost hunt that night.
Yes,
and let me tell you, I'm so glad I quit that ghost tour, man. I'm so glad.
Yeah. It was nice to go back there and go, okay, let's get into this. And then, yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
All I was thinking about the entire time we were there, we could be out in the forest doing our thing, having fun.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Well, it was for the good of the museum, too. So, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't that fun either. But yeah, it was to support the community, so that's what it's all about, and not about what we wanted to do.
Yeah, but next time it's going to be about what we want to do. Next time, you're right. It was about supporting the museum and supporting the heritage site and everything along those lines. So we literally did our time, and we went to prison for a little bit, but we came out. We came out, and I don't know if we're better for it, but
it's done. It's over with. We can move on with our project again.
Lon Strickler has been following what we have been doing from phantomsandmonsters.com and, of course, Strange Days here on Spaced Out Radio, where he comes on once a month. He's been intently following what we have been doing over the last little bit here and breaking down everything and even having one of his trusted remote viewers, Delise, down in Australia, remote viewing what's going on. I mean, it's pretty weird, man, that watching this entire series, I mean, we're only 3 videos in, and we're getting a lot of interesting happenings.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just from the outside itself, from the people that are, like Robin Hayes, Lon, and it's amazing the amount of feedback we're getting back from people that are really deep in this field and are researchers, I guess, right? It's amazing, and things are lighting up. It didn't take long for a lot of different actions to be happening up there. That's for sure. Lots of different stuff going on.
Yeah, and we've got, before we start getting into a lot of the testing and everything, we're halfway through. Yep. So when, because a lot of people are like, why aren't you putting up trail cameras? Why aren't you doing some experiments? Why aren't you, chasing down trails and everything? When we kind of signed up for this and the heritage site was haunting me all winter, literally haunting me.
Yeah.
Look, I may sound like a weirdo here to many people when I say this, but literally I asked the phenomena, what do you want me to do? And they said for the first 6 times, we want you to sit there. Okay. We've also taken a little bit of criticism. I won't say criticism. I'll say critique.
Okay.
On bringing firearms into the area, pointy sticks, as well as cameras. A few people have stated to us that, Sasquatch doesn't like the pointy sticks and they don't like the cameras as well. I'm going to answer that this way. I agree. Normally, like when we go to our other Sasquatch site, I don't have a camera with us.
No.
It is all about them. But in this site, because of the danger that is in that area with other wild animals, before I even started on this adventure, I cleared it spiritually. And I said, look, if you want me to do this, if you want us to get back out there, there's a few things that I need. Number one, I'm not going there alone.
Yeah.
I need somebody to come with me. And I'm going to give a quick shout out here. I don't normally do this during the show, but one of our frequent listeners on YouTube, Polly Rotterman, she lives in Israel right now. She just popped into the chat room and let us know that she's safe. And that is such an ugly, ugly scene over there between Iran and Israel right now. I don't talk politics here. I don't talk anything but Polly. We love you. And please, 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 for you and your son, be safe. And for all of us here, we're praying for you and everybody else, the innocent people who are being affected on both sides of the border by this. So just stay safe, okay? Please do that for us.
Definitely.
And stay in touch. But getting back to what I was saying here, in my meditation with the phenomena going into this area, I said point blank, I said there's a few things that I need. Number one, I'm not going in alone, so I cleared you, I cleared Merle, I cleared Samantha, and a few others.
Sure.
The one person they didn't allow me or did not want me bringing in there was my son.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So that was one. Number two, I said, I will not go into that area unarmed.
No.
And that I will be bringing pointy sticks. But the promise is I'm putting it out to you and I'm putting it out to everybody else. okay, that there are a lot of wild animals out there, and that we will not raise our pointy sticks to any part of the phenomena, any cryptid creature, any UFO, any alien, or any ghost.
Yeah, and that's the way that you've opened it up every time we've gone there. Like every time we show up there, Dave always, that's the first thing we do before we start setting up. Dave, gives his offering and stuff, and then announces that we're here, and just that we will not raise the pointy sticks to anything, Bigfoot, whatever. I mean, obviously protect ourselves, but yeah, we always open that up, and I don't film that because that's just kind of our setting up sort of idea. But yeah, and it seems to be working quite well, actually.
Yeah, and the other thing that we also state on that with cameras, I let the phenomena know when we're in meditation that we definitely needed to film this.
Yes.
And the response was okay. Mm-hmm. The only other response that I have gotten that I haven't got an answer for yet was if we are safe.
Yeah.
And that has not been answered yet.
Mm-mm.
So what the phenomena wanted us to do the first 6 times was just basically sit there, take it all in. It was like they were wanting the area to get used to us, that we are there. So that's what we are doing, right? That's what we're doing, and we kind of go from there.
Yes.
So I want to clarify all of that before we get the UFO report, and we're going back this Saturday. Don't know what to expect. We're going to try and debunk the photo.
Yes, for sure.
We're going to try and see what's happening at our gifting site, and then we're going to sit our big butts down in the chairs again and see if we could get the spirits chatting with us on the meters and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it will be, well, this weekend we're right at solstice, so it'll be the brightest night of the year.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to see how that plays out. So what do you got for the UFO report?
Well, let's see here. Let's start off. Representative Annapolina Luna kind of voiced out today against the Wall Street Journal. She slammed it. So basically, Annapolina Luna, who's the chair of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets, has publicly dismissed a recent Wall Street Journal article claiming the Pentagon orchestrated a fake UFO campaign, calling it bull manure. The June 6, 2025 report suggested activities at Area 51 were part of a deliberate misinformation effort. In an exclusive interview with Askapol, Luna expressed skepticism about the claims, questioning their validity based on information she and other lawmakers received during briefings with the FBI. Luna also criticized AARO, again, the Pentagon's unit tasked with investigating UFOs and UAPs. She described AARO's performance as, quote, terrible and a waste of resources, arguing the other agencies have been more transparent and effective in handling UAP and UFO-related matters. I don't actually like the work that AARO has done, quote, Luna stated, emphasizing the need for cost-saving measures and suggesting AARO's inefficiencies contribute to the problem. So she further confirmed plans for public UAP UFO hearings after the 4th of July weekend to address ongoing concerns. In response, Tim Phillips, AARO's former deputy director, defended the office's efforts. Phillips, who left his role earlier this year, stated, AARO has been working diligently to analyze UFO and UAP reports and provide clarity to the public. He acknowledged the challenges of investigating phenomenon with limited verifiable data, but insists the office's mission remains critical to, here it is, national security. Surprise.
Of course.
Right. Phillips declined to directly address Luna's comments on the Wall Street Journal report, instead emphasizing AARO's commitment to transparency despite the complexities of declassifying sensitive information. Our work is about separating fact from speculation, Phillips said, and we've made significant strides in cataloging, and assessing UAP UFO incidents. The exchange highlights growing tension between congressional oversight and the Pentagon's handling of these investigations. Luna's outspoken remarks reflect frustration among some lawmakers who believe AARO has fallen short of expectations, while Phillips' response underscores the difficulties of navigating a field rife with speculation and classified material. As the public hearing approaches, the debate over UFO and UAP transparency and government accountability is likely to intensify. So, yeah, she wasn't very happy, and yeah, I actually saw some interviews with her today, and yeah, she had some, I guess, very colorful things to say, and just sound bites and stuff. But yeah, she's not very happy with the Wall Street Journal, and again, emphasizing her disdain for AARO.
Well, one thing that I want to say about this, because we got 3 minutes to go before we go to break, I think she has a right to be upset.
Sure.
Okay, because she knows more than what we do. Let's be honest.
Fair enough.
Okay, she knows what's happening behind the scenes. We don't. That being said, I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that AARO has not been transparent at all.
Yeah.
Maybe half-truths, because I am on record, and I will stick to that. I am on record in liking the Wall Street Journal article as well as Stephen Greenstreet's follow-up.
Yes.
Okay, but to me, it only tells half the story. It tells the story that was made up, okay, that they were doing this, the hazing of generals and high-ranking military members, basically saying you could go to death row if you open your mouth on this.
Right.
The fact that they were covering up UFOs. I've had sources who've worked at certain bases tell me that was part of the priority. Go look like a UFO. Okay, I believe that wholeheartedly. And with AARO, that's the one thing I do believe in AARO that they got right. Okay,
True.
And you're talking to somebody or you're listening to somebody who's speaking who thinks AARO should be disbanded. I really do.
Yeah.
Because they haven't told us the other half of the story.
No.
They haven't told us. They've told us about the UAP. They haven't told us about the UFOs.
True.
Okay. And they don't want to talk about the UFOs.
No.
And that's exactly it. So the question is, where are they hiding it? Where is that information? So I can see where she's angry with that, because other people have come out saying this is what we're seeing. Now, there were some revelations in that area, especially around black triangles. And I know you have a black triangle story coming up here momentarily, which we'll probably get to at the bottom of the hour. But the point that we're getting at here is it's only half the story.
Yes.
And what somebody like Luna has to come out and say is, tell us the other half. Don't sit there and say it's BS. I mean, that works.
Sure.
You're creating anger and ire on the social media front. But tell us that's half the story.
Yeah.
Or are you so blinded, and I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Sure, of course.
Are you so blinded that you think it's all garbage?
Yeah. True. I don't know. I'm thinking that I think that you're going to see AARO start scrambling because of this. I think you're going to see them starting to jump through hoops and trying to produce more.
Well, they may. Maybe that's what they're going to have to do. But let's remember, they don't answer to these congressional people. They answer to the people at the Pentagon.
Well, true.
And the Department of Defense and many others. When we come back, another fighter pilot talks about black triangles on the UFO report with Tim James.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Excellent.
Excellent.
That is a good thing.
When in doubt, shout it out.
Goat. Oh, sorry.
I know you got the goat. At your age, man, you probably got them crusty toenails, too.
No.
Those crusty, thick, elongated toenails.
No.
You're a YouTube video for Dr. Foot Patrol or whatever their name is.
It's a virus. It's contagious.
Do you remember those commercials that the guy had on?
Yeah.
Where the kid was like pointing at the toe fungus the guy had?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that was hilarious. Did you get those in the States? I don't know if you did or not. Yeah. Yeah. Tim's in dire need of some podiatry.
Podiatry.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, it's not. Don't want any podiatry. Hey, that one's this one. This one's that one. Those are this.
I'm starting to get my 30-06 dialed in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where the heck is it? That's not him. It would be this gentleman. Yeah. 30-06. Good pointy stick.
Deb's left her crush for me, and she's moved it on to you now. She goes, Tim looks great. Davy's just jelly.
You're jelly.
I'm jelly.
You're the
That's
jelly
twice
roll.
she stuck up for you tonight.
Love you, Deb.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You know why Tim's on camera, don't you? Or off camera most of the time when we're in the forest? That's because he's got the camera attached to his walker.
Don't tell all the secrets.
Telling all the secrets. Telling them all.
Jerk. Far too many stories tonight.
Even my son is in on it.
Yeah.
He goes up to Tim the other day. He goes, Tim, when you were a kid, what kind of dinosaur did you have for a pet? I thought that one was good.
That was really good. It got everybody laughing.
That was a good one.
I was laughing. He's a good kid.
He's a great kid. He freaking loves you, man.
He's a smart aleck, but he's a great kid.
Yeah, he thinks you're the greatest.
Well, have you had him checked out?
Well, look at Deidre. Tim doesn't fart like Dave does. I get your crush. Are you kidding me? That was Tim times 2 in the video. Tim times 2.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay, yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you seriously trying to put the blame on me?
I'm not putting the blame on anybody. I'm just saying, wasn't me. It was the yellow-bellied sapsucker of the caribou. Also known as Dave Scott.
Are you kidding me? You just dropped my name on that?
You dropped it up. Oh, yeah, Fred. It slipped out of your pants.
Are you kidding me right now? Fat bastard was in town. He was out there with us.
Oh my goodness, that was too funny.
Oh God. Okay, for the record, the first one was me.
Yeah.
The second one was you.
Second one was Sasquatch. Yeah, so it was Dave and the Sasquatch.
Second one was you.
That was priceless.
Oh God.
And Dave's filming it. He just like, I'm like, really? I got to give a straight face. That was brilliant, though. Oh, fart jokes, they never get old.
No, they don't.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, we were equal ripping ass. We were tied 1-1 after that night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In the studio, where did you send it to? Hey, thank you, Debaruni ×2. Zen2, thank you very much for the lovely super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support. I believe I did in the studio, yes. I just didn't have time to respond because I had the day from hell today, but it was an awesome day from hell.
Yes.
All right, 5 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Here comes the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind all of you before we get back to the UFO report with Tim James that you can check out all of our archives for free. Why, Tim?
Because that's the way you want it, Dave.
They're always free.
Mm-hmm. Every single one.
Every single one on YouTube or any major podcast network. Sure. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. So apparently, in the UFO report, there is a new fighter pilot who has come out saying that he eyewitnessed a black triangle.
He eyewitnessed a triangle. Yes, he most certainly did. So Major Ryan Bodenheimer, a former U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds pilot with extensive experience flying F-15 jets, reported a striking encounter with a triangular UFO at 30,000 feet above Wyoming. While conducting a routine high-altitude mission, Bodenheimer observed a bright white cream-colored triangular object approximately 30 to 50 feet in height, approaching his aircraft at a speed of 400 knots, which is super fast. Initially, he believed a collision was imminent as the object closed in from the distance, but it then matched his jet's speed and altitude, flying alongside for a brief period before disappearing abruptly. So Bodenheimer, now an aviation YouTuber, described the object as a perfect triangle with a clear center, ruling out conventional explanations such as weather balloons, commercial aircraft, or drones due to its size, speed, and maneuverability. He noted its edges glowing brightly while the central area appeared almost translucent, defying any aerodynamic principles he had studied. The incident, which he called the wildest experience of his 14-year career, left him and his team stunned as the ground radar briefly corroborated the object's presence before it vanished from tracking systems. The sighting adds to growing number of military pilot reports of unexplained aerial phenomenon. Bodenheimer referenced similar accounts, such as the Navy pilot's 2014 to 2015 encounters with cube-shaped objects encased in spheres off of the East Coast, and the 2004 USS Nimitz Tic-Tac incident involving a white oval object exhibiting hypersonic capabilities. He emphasized that the diminishing stigma around UFO reports has encouraged more pilots to share their experiences, fostering a shift towards transparency within the military aviation community. The encounter also comes in the context of a recent Wall Street Journal report alleging that the Pentagon has historically used UFO narratives to mask classified military projects, such as stealth aircraft development at Area 51 during the Cold War. This raises questions about whether Bodenheimer's sighting could involve undisclosed technology, though he insists the object's behavior was beyond any known human engineering. Arrow, established to investigate such incidents, has yet to comment on the specific case. Bodenheimer's account, detailed in a recent interview, underscores the ongoing mystery surrounding high-altitude UFO encounters and their implications for aviation safety and, wait for it, national security.
Nothing about transparency.
No. Weird, eh?
See, this is one that kind of gets me wondering, you know, because the way it's written, it sounds like this thing just kind of caused an incursion up in the sky.
Right.
Okay. Now, did it come up and fly along with him? Did it come up and try and intercept him?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything different to the way that was handled? Or did it come up and maybe join formation in some sort of formation? I would like to know that.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I like this report. I do, mainly because I've seen 2 black triangles myself, and these triangular craft really, really excite me.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That being said, I do believe that somewhere, when you listen to Michael Schratt or Jim Goodall or somebody of an aviation historian type of person, I do believe that there is some sort of craft there that, whether it's been retrofitted from previous crash retrievals or whatever, we don't know.
No.
But that's another one of those situations, unfortunately, that could be ours, could be theirs.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. And I almost found out when we were in Las Vegas, when I was sitting with Jim, and then I was interrupted by somebody while he was going down that path at supper that night. I was like, oh, he's got black triangles. Oh, yeah. And then leans over the table and then somebody else came in and interrupted the conversation.
Was that me?
No, that was not you.
Oh.
That was somebody else. Yes.
But, I mean, the black triangles to me and the triangle phenomena, I mean, you look at the aircraft, most aircraft look triangular.
Yes. Okay.
They do. They if you take a B-1 bomber when its wings are swept back, it looks like a triangle. The F-117 was very triangular. Okay. The B-2 bomber is very triangular in shape.
True.
Okay. Even though it's rounded, it's still very triangular. By the way, speaking of the B-2 bomber, have you ever seen a photo of it and seen a photo of a peregrine falcon diving to gain speed?
I've seen a photo of a peregrine falcon doing that. Yeah.
Their shape is exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Well, that would make total sense, wouldn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that like the dynamics behind that? I find it phenomenal.
Well, yeah, because
that's a sidebar. But
yeah, well, you're not going to design a B-2 bomber in the shape of a walrus, I guess.
No, true. But getting back to the whole triangular aspect, I mean, people have seen different color and more translucent type triangles in the past. Yeah. So I think that's something that, the jury is out whether or not that's ours or theirs, because I have been told by people on the inside and investigators that the United States does have a fleet of what we call TR-3B aircraft. Now, color, well, it could be any color.
Sure.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a UFO, definitely a UAP. It could be a UAP. And we kind of go from there. But I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
No worries. So, did you hear Mr. James Fox? So, James Fox, in a recent development that sparked intrigue among UFO enthusiasts and national security observers, filmmaker James Fox, known for his documentaries exploring UFOs and UAPs, reportedly engaged in a high-level discussion inside of a skiff with John Kozlowski, the director of the Pentagon's Arrow. The conversation, shrouded in secrecy, typical of such secure settings, is said to have touched on potential disclosure of non-human intelligence, a topic that has long fueled speculation about extraterrestrial life and government transparency. So Fox, a prominent figure in the UFO community, has spent years investigating sightings and advocating for greater openness about unexplained aerial phenomenon. His presence in a skiff, a highly secured facility used for discussing classified information, suggests a rare opportunity to engage directly with officials at the forefront of UFO and UAP investigations. The meeting reportedly centered on the possibility of Arrow releasing information that could confirm or address the existence of non-human intelligence, a term used, obviously, to describe potential extraterrestrial or otherwise non-human origins of certain UAPs or UFOs. While details of the discussion remain tightly guarded, sources familiar with Arrow's work indicate that Kozlowski has been pushing for increased transparency, as evidenced by the office's recent publications of unclassified reports on high-profile UAP cases. The inclusion of Fox, a civilian advocate, in such a sensitive setting raises questions about whether the government is preparing to share more with the public or seeking input from external researchers to navigate the complex landscape of UAP disclosure. So the discussion of non-human intelligence remains a contentious issue. A recent review of 80 years of government records by Arrow concluded there is no evidence of extraterrestrial non-human intelligence, a stance echoed by skeptics like retired NASA investigator Joseph Guntheins, who has attributed many UFO sightings to classified military projects. Yet, advocates like Fox argue that the persistence of unexplained cases warrants a broader release of data. Kozlowski's efforts to balance transparency with national security concerns were highlighted in his comments to ABC News, where he noted Arrow's investment in tools to redact sensitive information from declassified materials, aiming to make raw evidence more accessible without compromising security. This meeting underscores the ongoing tension between public curiosity and government secrecy. While no official statement has confirmed the specifics of Fox and Kozlowski's conversation, the mere occurrence of such a meeting in a skiff suggests that Arrow may be grappling with how to address the non-human intelligence question in a way that satisfies both scientific rigor and public demand for answers. Whether this signals an impending shift towards greater disclosure or simply a consultation with a prominent UFO figure remains unclear, but it has lit a very small spark among those who believe the truth about non-human intelligence may be closer to the surface than ever before.
I like James Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I look at many people who are doing this for the right reason,
right,
I would say it's him.
Yeah.
He makes an incredible film. A lot of people want to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't burn his sources. I mean, he's a good guy. And everything that I've heard about him, and I've talked to him a couple of times on the phone,
right,
I like him.
Yeah.
I think he's very direct. He doesn't want to play games. He wants to get to the bottom of this through telling movies. And I had no idea that he was in a skiff talking about this. I would love to know what they were talking about and why they were there.
Well, there's also, you can watch it and you can find it on any social media site, I guess. But I saw it on X, and he, very personable guy and very, very outspoken and funny. And I guess the only thing he tried to get Kozlowski to say, okay, yeah, there's NHI or whatever you want to call it. And when he asked him, all Kozlowski could do was turn around and say to him, look, he says, I can't, he says, I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying yes. He says, but let me just tell you one thing for certain. He says, I have to check with the Department of Defense before I part my hair. So that was a quote from James Fox, and I thought, well, he tried, and it was a good shot, but I'm sure he's not going to give it up.
I think that line actually says a lot more than what they're saying.
I think you're
because if and that was Kozlowski, right?
Yeah,
who said that?
Yeah.
If James Kozlowski said that he has to, ask permission to comb his hair or to part his hair.
Yeah.
That tells you right there, reading between the lines, because a lot of people will say, Dave, I mean, you've heard it.
Yeah.
People say, like Courtney saying the other night, Dave, you read between the lines and you see things. Well, when I hear that line, that tells me point blank that his hands are tied.
Oh, for
his
sure.
hands are completely tied on anything and everything to do with this subject.
Yeah.
And basically saying, I have a don't ask, don't tell policy. You can ask all you want, but I ain't telling.
Yeah, exactly. No, and you're right. I think that nails it right on the head. He can't say anything. I'm sure he'd love to. Right?
Yeah. But it also goes to show that Arrow is covering up for the sake of the government. It may not be the sake for Kozlowski or Tim Phillips or even Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the former head of the program. But that being said, there is, I think precedent saying, I have no control.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say anything. And it also goes against the whole role of transparency. And we shouldn't be surprised by that.
No, I don't think we should.
What
either.
else you got for us?
Well,
We got
George.
6 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, George Knapp apparently dropped some bombshells today. So, investigative journalist George Knapp, joined by Jeremy Corbell, surprise, appeared on News Nation's I don't even know, Cuomo.
Cuomo. Chris Cuomo.
That's it. And dropped explosive claims about UAP. Knapp, a UFO research veteran, asserted the U.S. government holds physical evidence and non-human technology, but conceals it through a decades-long cover-up. They've buried this for 80 years, he says, and they're still outmaneuvering us, referencing Pentagon efforts to suppress truth via disinformation campaigns. Knapp revealed his archives contain extensive government documents and whistleblower accounts, including details of U.S. and Soviet military encounters with UFO, which he investigated in Russia during the 1990s. He confirmed prior knowledge of David Grush's 2023 congressional testimony about secret programs involving alien tech, claiming more whistleblowers are emerging. Knapp stressed that only a high-level leak with undeniable evidence could force transparency, as the Pentagon won't and will not voluntarily disclose its UFO secrets. The interview stirred debate, with supporters praising Knapp's dogged pursuit of truth, backed by his award-winning career, while skeptics criticized the lack of tangible proof, dismissing his claims as speculative despite his insistence on a global hidden phenomenon. There is a big interview that our guests are going to be releasing tomorrow, and it'll be all over the place. And apparently, it gets pretty deep, and he comes up with some pretty decent claims.
I love George Knapp. He is a hero of mine in this field.
Right.
I know he takes a lot of heat because he will not give up his sources. He will. He's never thrown anybody under the bus. He's not a fan of ufology because he thinks that there are too many loudmouths out there who are playing it. He's not a grifter. I've heard him called a grifter and a terrible journalist. He's not that whatsoever. You don't stay in the news game, especially at one station, for almost 50 years. Because you don't know how to do your job or you're not well respected. And the UFO story really is minute compared to what he has broken in the past. The guy is a living legend in the media world, and this goes far beyond. For our world, it's when he broke the Bob Lazar story in 1989. Okay, and look, I know he takes a lot of heat because he teamed up with Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy doesn't have, unfortunately, he doesn't have the best reputation going on. But Jeremy doesn't care.
No.
Jeremy doesn't care whatsoever. But I will stick up for George Knapp on this. He has sources all over. This guy's been working this story for 36 years. He's gained some trust. He's gained the acumen as a journalist should in covering this story. So if he has something big to break, I will guarantee you that we need to listen. And I look forward to it because I like Knapp. I really like George. I know he doesn't have a lot of time to do interviews and everything, but God, I would love to get him on the air again. And maybe I'll send him another note. But I think the world of him and his work. And he's got, a fantastic professional beard of knowledge. And I can't wait to see what they bring out.
True. How much time have we got?
We got about 2.5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Got time to squeeze one more in. So, back in 1978, in the sleepy town of Peculiar, Missouri, yes, that is the real name, Earl Jenkins, a local farmer with a penchant for homemade blackberry wine, had what he swore was a close encounter of the absurd kind. Earl wasn't your typical UFO person. He was more concerned with his prize-winning pumpkins than little green men. But one muggy August night, after polishing off a jug of his finest vintage, Earl stumbled out of his barn to check on a noisy raccoon he thought was raiding his feed bins. Instead of a raccoon, Earl found what he later described as a shiny soup can the size of a Buick, hovering 3 feet above his cornfield, glowing faint blue and humming like a kazoo orchestra. According to Earl, the craft wobbled like it was drunk, or it was a drunker, and drunker than he was, excuse me. Then, plopped down, squashed his pumpkin patch, out popped a single occupant, a lanky silver-suited figure with a head like an overripe eggplant and eyes the size of dinner plates. Earl, unfazed, and 3 sheets to the wind, offered it a swig of his wine. The alien, instead of probing Earl or demanding to see his leader, took a sip, gurgled what sounded like a hiccup, and started doing what Earl calls a jazzy little jig. Right there in the dirt. For the next hour, the two allegedly bonded over more wine, with the alien attempting to communicate via interpretive dance, and what Earl swore was a telepathic recipe for cosmic cobbler. The creature sketched some squiggles in the dirt. Earl thought they looked like a map to Arby's before hopping back into its wobbly craft and zipping off, leaving a trail of sparkles and a flattened pumpkin patch. The next day, Earl told the story to a local diner, expecting laughs. Instead, his buddy Merle, the town mechanic, admitted he'd seen a flying soup can that same night.
Oh, my.
Though he was too embarrassed to mention it, thinking he'd overdone it on his moonshine. The particular Gazette ran a small blurb. No one took it too seriously.
Oh, that's a great story. Let's get drunk and see some UFOs as we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar, God himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah.
That is a good show. All right.
Yes.
I am so tired. I know you got to run.
I do.
We're going to sit here tonight, and we're going to say goodnight to each and every one of you, because I got to quickly edit this and go to bed, and I'm just done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night on the show, Stephen and Evan Strong talk about our alien ancestry. That'll be fun. We'll find out about that tomorrow night. And thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney ×2 and Zen2 with our super chats. Greatly appreciated. Oh, a hat trick for Deborah Rooney. We have a hat trick for Deborah Rooney tonight. A hat trick. Yep. Go Oilers tomorrow night.
Yes.
Tomorrow night, go Oilers. I'm either going to be real happy or real pissy tomorrow. There is no in between.
Nope.
We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Love y'all. Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.